What's up, guys? Welcome to the first edition of From the Pit, which is just me sitting in the cockpit and talking about things going on in sim racing. And right now is Gamescom going on, which is a video gaming expo, and not typically the place that we expect a ton of sim racing stuff to come out of, especially peripheral based. But oddly enough, we did get some news today, both from Asetek and from Moza. As the show goes on throughout the rest of the week, if there's anything else comes out, we'll come back in the pit and do another video. But some big news from two spectrums of the sim racing world. You've got Asetek that are coming at it from a more entry level. They've always kind of dominated the high end spectrum. They have their three levels of products, but they've always been a little bit more on the expensive side, kind of looked at as more premium. And then you have Moza, which is a little bit more wide consumer based, and they're coming at it going for like that top end market. So always interesting to look at what's going on in sim racing. Let's go ahead and cut over. Oh, that's way too big. Let me minimize myself here. And we'll start with Asetek that are going for a more entry-level position. You'll see here they kind of go over their original pedals that are forged from like all billet aluminum and all forged in one piece. So they were saying how they couldn't just like take those pedals and put them on a cheaper base. But what they did is they kind of went with a forged look. So I'll go ahead and let's play here. But you can see here kind of a forged carbon, similar to kind of like what you see on like the GT Neo wheel. I've seen this a lot more in sim racing. Moza's now doing some forged carbon stuff. But you can see they've done the entire plate out of the forged carbon, which they say is cheaper and still is robust. And he's talking here about how it's used in real pedals and real race stuff. So it's kind of going that angle. But what's interesting about this is it's really designed, you can see their floor mode. So they're specifically designing this for the kitchen table, desk, sim racer, temporary setup designed to sit on the floor. And they're talking about how the pedals are actually tilted so that when you push on them, the whole thing shouldn't slide, which is really interesting that they're really going for like that, desk racer setup. And the next part of that, skipping ahead here, is their new wheelbase. So this whole line is called the Initium. So playing off like your initial like starter. So the whole theme being like entry level, taking that next step into direct drive. And you'll see here, this is their 5.5 Newton meter wheelbase. Now they claim here that it's like real force feedback, kind of playing off a lot of the other entry levels that are kind of, so maybe some of like the Thrustmaster early stage stuff, which they're trying to like pitch as force feedback, but it's kind of gimmicky and not quite like true force feedback. So they're saying it's 5.5 Newton meters of like actual force feedback. You can see there comes with a table clamp. So again, we're pushing this towards the entry level, you're on your temporary setup, whatever that may be. And then here's the wheel that comes with it. So, a little bit on the cheaper side. I don't know about the start and stop button, giant start stop button right in the middle. But again, that more forged carbon look, not a lot of color in it. I mean, it looks pretty bare bones. This looks a little plasticky. Not crazy about this material. Kind of reminds me, again, of kind of like the Fanatec entry level wheel that came with my DD Pro, DD Plus, whatever that one is, the GT DD Plus. So you get, it looks a little video gamey. I think it looks better than this. It doesn't have this kind of like silver. I do like the forged look. I think forged is a kind of a really cool look for kind of entry level stuff. But I don't like this bit here. This kind of, I guess I'd have to get in my hands to know, but this looks very plasticky. I don't know if you can like customize the colors on these buttons to bring a little color into the wheel, because there's not a lot. You do have your shift light here. But all these buttons being just black, I assume maybe it comes with a sticker sheet that you can put some stickers on them. But that is also, again, about the same size. It might be a little bit bigger than this. I think this is like a 280. But that is a 300 millimeter wheel, not like a 330 or 350. So a little bit on the smaller side, but the idea being they want it to be kind of a one size fits all. So you can see their other wheels are around 330. They want it to be kind of a one size fits all. You can use it for formula. You can use it for street cars. You can use it for whatever. So the idea being, again, entry level setup. You need something that's going to be versatile. That's going to work for everything. That's the goal here with this whole setup. The next big update, though, is they're getting into the rig market as well. So they got a full rig here, which oddly enough looks really similar to what I have here that I'm in. So I have the next level DD wheel stand. All right, sorry, my daughter was getting snacks, so it was picking up. But what I have here is the next level DD wheel stand. And then I have the GT add-on, which is actually very similar to this setup. So mine is in, it's kind of, I bought the wheel stand where that next level has, and then the GT add-on bolts in like right here. So it's extremely similar to this. But again, they got a single monitor mount here. And I don't know if he didn't really mention if they would have like a triple monitor add-on. My guess is not, because that's not, just enough to kind of hold. I would say even over, I don't know if that's rigid enough to really hold anything much more than a 5.5. But it is interesting that they're getting into the rig game as well. So they have an entire entry-level setup here where entry rig, entry pedals, entry wheelbase. And the cool thing about this is you can actually fold this up. I can't even do that with mine. So look at that. That's pretty cool. So if you're one of those space conscious racers, but you don't want to just have a fold up wheel stand, or even like those play seats that fold up, they can't hold direct drive. So I know play seats got those like fold up stands. I think Next Level has one too. I mean, maybe 5.5 you could get away, but you'd get a decent amount of flex. Like it'll shake that hole because it's tubular. So those aren't really great for direct drive. So the idea that they got something here that's a little bit more sturdy, you get a cool racing seat, a bucket seat, but also can handle direct drive wheelbase, is pretty cool. It's definitely a new take for them getting into this market. Again, Asetek's always kind of been viewed as like top end stuff. So them coming after that entry level market that's been dominated by the Thrustmasters, the Fanateks, the Mozas with the R3, R5, the lower end Fanateks, the T, what's that? Whatever the T, like the octagon shaped Thrustmaster thing is, T58, T580, something like that. Coming after that market is really interesting. I don't know if they announced pricing in this video. They do talk about how you can upgrade those pedals. So if you want to get like the load cell kit from their higher end, you can do that. I don't think they ever announced pricing though. They do have an upgraded seat. So again, kind of showing an upgrade path, how you can start with this kit and kind of add to it and kind of grow with it over time. Here we go. So here we go. Racing Bundle 1 starting at $599 includes the brake and throttle, your steering wheel, and the desk mount. Racing Bundle 2 for a little over $1,000 includes the cockpit. So that's a pretty good price point. I think that's right where like an entry level I'd have to get a comparison chart of them all, but I mean I think that's right around that entry level point for like a decent kit. Before, like, I know Logitech they're going to be coming out with a lower one. Their issue, I think, was like their kit kind of fell in between high end and entry level, but it was like way too expensive. Like it was like $899 all the way up to $1,000. So this slots in really nice with the others in the market. It's a proven name, so I think if they can come into that market and people kind of associate them with quality, but still get entry level pricing, I think that bodes well for them. And it's better getting more people, more options at the entry level direct drive field is great. Positive news. So let's hop over to the other end of the spectrum at Moza. And they kind of are the broad spectrum. I think most people associate them with entry level because some of their early stuff was around under 8 Newton meters, and then like 12 was like the highest they went. But since they have the only other active pedal on the market right now other than SimiCube, and they've got some bigger end bases. So they're kind of the broader spectrum, but they're definitely going for that super high end market now. So here they are with their brand new they have a 21 and a 25, of course, relating to 21 Newton meters and 25 Newton meters, which is insane versus, let me say, I would say maybe 85 to 90% of the sim racing community do not need 25. I'd say 95% don't need 20, or 85 to 90% don't need 21. 95% of us don't need 25. Like that's way more than most of these sims detail are really giving out. I mean, if you're maybe like super hardcore on the weekends, going on track days, you're like dialed in, or you're someone who races maybe semi-professionally or whatever, maybe you can tell that maybe you need that detail. Maybe like it matters to you. Honestly, for most of us, that's well more. I probably couldn't tell you the difference. I think once it gets more than like 18, most of us aren't going to know the difference. But anyway, here it is if you want it. The 21 and the 25. There's some of the other stuff that was at their booth. Of course, the Moza active pedal, which is really tempting. Sim Magic, I am holding out to upgrade pedals, waiting for you to announce more details on your active pedal. I came real close. It came down to buying a new rig, which I haven't built yet. New rig or new pedals with the Moza active pedal. I went back and forth for days, sitting up at late nights on my phone, deciding which one I wanted to go with. I ended up going with a new rig, and I'm just going to hold out for Sim Magic to come out with their active pedal, but it's really tempting. Here is our shifter. So I guess you can't really see it here, but I do have that Moza sequential shifter, the only piece of Moza kit that I got. Personally, I am team Frankenstein your setup to whatever you need it to be. So I have a Moza sequential shifter, a Fanatec wheelbase and Fanatec pedals, Sim Magic wheel. So I have like the most Frankenstein setup, but like, honestly, I just love this kit. And there are some things where like, I like parts of it. Like of all the sequential shifters, I really like this shifter. I didn't really like what Fanatec had for a sequential shifter. So like, get what you like. Most of it all can be, so maybe you got a few different softwares that you have to use individually, but most of it, once you get it set up, you leave it. So I'm team, get what you like. It all works, especially on the PC. But anyway, this is what else was in their booth. Some other big announcements they made, partnerships with Mercedes and MotoGP, which is the one that has a lot of people interested. What does that mean? Are they coming out with a peripheral that's going to work for Superbike games? Are we going to have, like, what does that mean? So that's really interesting. What's in 2026 are they going to be doing with MotoGP? Super interesting. But so here's just some footage or some videos of people enjoying Moza products. So anyway, where's the other announcement? Here's some other on their wheelbase. True torque is what they're calling it. Whatever that means. Again, all these guys get kind of gimmicky with what they call their torque, but it does look like we'll have some LED lights that I'm guessing we'll be able to customize to mimic flags or mimic whatever you want it to do. It's usually the case now. Zero cogging flat wire motor. Again, that was one of the words they kept using at the convention, whatever that means. Sustained torque output, magnetic encoders. You can read all the stuff. Refined design with RGB customization. So there you go. Again, they didn't really put like any footage of the R21, but they did say that there was going to be a 21 as well. So here's the other announcement with the MotoGP. The other big thing is, where is it? The new Porsche Wheel. They've got a new Porsche Wheel they announced. For whatever reason, it's not here. Let's go back to my Sim Racing Setups Facebook page. Join us if you want, but here it is. This is the new wheel. What do you guys think? What do you think? I think it needs more buttons personally. I don't know if this is enough buttons, but yeah. So they say this is based on the 911 GT3 RS inspired because that is not what the steering wheel in a GT3 RS looks like. They definitely have taken maybe like some of the design language and then slapped every sim racing button and knob on it that you can possibly think of. So I don't know. I think it looks a little gimmicky. It just looks kind of uninspired. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I think there's plenty of wheels in the sim racing ecosystem that have this many buttons, but they're incorporated into a design that's kind of designed to have those buttons. This looks like a normal streetcar wheel glued on top of like a Formula. I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. Of all the kind of Maybe it's just because it's licensed. If it just was a Moza logo, like I know there's plenty of hubs that you can put a normal wheel on and they look similar to this. But yeah, I don't know. It looks a little gimmicky. I'm also not a fan of just displays for display purposes. Like there's so little information on this display. I don't think it serves really a purpose. It just seems kind of gimmicky. I guess we'll wait and see if you can customize this maybe in SimHub. But I mean, if all you're showing me is like the gear, I don't know. It just seems like a little excessive. But we do have like a lot of nice toggles. You know, you've got all the buttons that you need. It just looks a little goofy to me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you think this is really cool, if you're going to want to pick it up. But yeah, I don't know. It's got all the functionality. It's got tons of shifters and paddles and knobs, and I mean everything's here that you would need. But yeah, you can see here too many freaking buttons. That's not all a car wheel looks like. So I think that's what it comes down to. If it was just a Moza logo and it was pitched as a sim racing wheel that has every button you might need for a variety of cars, that's one thing. But once you start getting into putting licensed badges on it and trying to pitch it as a real version of a popular car, I feel like it changes a little bit then. Like once you've put that logo on it and you put yourself out there as trying to make it seem like a real car wheel, I think they lose me at that point. And I'm sure you're paying a decent amount of money too for that Porsche logo. And I'm a Porsche fan. I love Porsche. No part of me would consider getting this as a Porsche fan. I would much rather, I think, if I'm going like weird licensed route, I'm going all the way. I'm going something like this, like the Porsche Vision wheel. Did they have the Lamborghini one out? Their Lamborghini wheel, I feel like, does something similar, but even better. Let's go photos. It's got to be in here somewhere. This Vision, this wheel. I mean, yeah, there's just so many better ways to do that if you're looking to take advantage of the license. Where is that Lamborghini wheel? So here it is. So here's their Lamborghini wheel. This looks much better. This has a lot of buttons still, but this looks like it could have come out of a supercar. It might have not as many buttons. Maybe there's a few things, but like if you're in this market, if you're looking for a wheel that is going to look like it came straight out of a real car, you understand that you're going to have to sacrifice a few buttons. Maybe you'll map them somewhere. Maybe you'll get a dashboard, whatever it may be, or a button box. If you're going for that ultra real look, you understand that this is kind of more style what you want, which is funny that they did this. This is a Moza wheel. This isn't out yet. Still don't have so it's not even like they're changing their methodology. This is also a wheel coming from Moza with a Lamborghini licensing and looks much more accurate to a real car wheel with still some sim stuff kind of bolted onto it, as opposed to, that I got to keep bouncing around, but that crazy wheel, this. Yeah, that's I don't know. That's literally two wheels that haven't come out yet from the same company, and one looks dramatically better than this one. So I don't know. I don't know what the thought process was here. Not crazy about it, but that is what's coming from Moza. Stick around and we'll see if there's some other stuff that's going to be announced in this week. Again, Gamescom, not typically the place that we find, but there is also the Sim Expo that's going on in like St. Louis area this weekend. I don't know if they're going to be announcing stuff there. I imagine they'll all have booths there, but maybe we'll see some new stuff. So like and subscribe if you want to see any other news that comes out, or let me know, whatever happens. I'm going to try to start doing some more content like this based on like what's going on in the sim racing world, new stuff that comes out, all that kind of stuff. So please like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of the stuff that got announced today, and I'll catch you in the next one.